Hello, I'm John Waters, and I'm supposed to announce there is no smoking in this theater, which I think is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard of in my life. How can anyone sit through a length of a film, and especially a European film, and not have a cigarette? But don't you wish you had one right now? And I'm telling you that smoke anyway. It gives ushers jobs, and if people didn't smoke, there would be no employment for the youth of today. So once again, no smoking in this theater.
The Jeff Meacham Network's Multiverse of Media. For over 15 years, the recognized symbol of excellence and the standard bearer in coverage of sports and entertainment.
Hey everybody, it's Thursday, February 1st. I can't believe it's already February. This is Meach's Musings. I am Jeff Meacham. Yes, I'm in a Ducks hockey jersey. It's not the Anaheim Ducks, though, not technically speaking. So we'll go ahead and forgive me for the day. Good to see everybody. Good to see JJ in the chat room already here, right on time. I know I know I'm a little earlier, usually an hour ahead of now. What do I want to talk about? Well, thank you for reminding me about that, Matthew, because I'm going to put this up because I'm not going to be talking about that. But thank you for reminding me to put the banner up because I did want to make sure I made that clear. There will not be any discussion about the latest development in the ongoing McMahon saga. So we'll go ahead and just let that lay where it lay. What we're going to talk about today, besides the shills, because everybody knows Meach has become the chill show, and we will be talking about what's coming up not only across the multiverse of media, but also throughout my extended circle of people. So stay tuned for a couple of shills for this and next weekend, and a extended first look that first appeared on one of our friends' presentations about a week or so ago. And that will be in relation to their big promotion tomorrow morning. So stay tuned for all of that. Now, what we're going to talk about here on Meach's Musings today, I'm going to muse about, JJ, is kind of relating to what's going on with the McMahon situation, but more of how we are reacting to it within our various communities, within the multiverse team, within Team No DQ. Although I don't represent No DQ today. That's why they're not over here. But also how we address a lot of things and how we communicate within our everyday lives. And I had to point this out rather abruptly, and probably maybe even a little bit with a little more sass than I intended to. I have noticed, particularly since the news about the Vince McMahon situation came out, but even more so overall since we've brought more people into the circle, there is a almost like a fail-safe, if you will, to fall back on. There we go. It's almost like a knee-jerk instinct to automatically assume everything we read is correct, and if it's bad news or if it's news, relaying negative information about someone or something, that we are to condemn that person and we are to automatically assume that everything is correct and they're the worst. And also, there is, particularly in sports and in the entertainment world, I'm not going to try to, sugarcoat it, that it's mostly about sports and professional wrestling, because that's what I cover on these multiverse media channels. That without having 100% confirmation, every bit of news is true. Without having 100% confirmation, everybody alleged to be involved in something is automatically involved. And I, as a human being, have a problem with that. As somebody that, for whatever reason, is assumed to be a journalist, I have a problem with that as well. Because if I am going to be classified as a journalist, then I need to uphold whatever amount of journalistic integrity I can as head of channel and as a on-screen person discussing the news and information presented to me by other sources. So I found myself reaching out in one of our group chats here in the multiverse, and again, I felt like I maybe bit a little too hard. I do, I did have regrets, but at the same time, I felt that it was important to come across here and talk to everybody about that, and hope that everybody can understand why we're not talking about what's going on the ticker, why we're not diving headlong into it compared to some of the other podcast channels or streaming shows you guys see across the wrestling world on a regular basis. And the long and short of that is, unlike most of those shows, we either have never been directly involved in the company or worked with the people being discussed, or we are not trying to claim that we have sources within those companies or around those people. I don't pretend to know any more than I know. There was a really big reason why I hesitated to talk about the person that was brought up in the news today, because I've become acquainted with, and I'll even go as far as say friends with, people involved in that story. And I didn't feel it was my place, because I don't know what's happening. I have no idea what's really going on behind closed doors, nor should I. It's none of my damn business. And I feel like as a society, we are so just driven by this almost like visceral desire to know more than we need to know. And a lot of that has been pressed by media, by, news and entertainment outlets. And I am not going to try to claim I'm not guilty of it, because Lord knows I have been. I'm just trying to make myself aware that I have been guilty of it and attempt to correct that problem, because it is a problem. Whether we want to, look the other way or try to deflect the terminology being used, it is a major problem within visual media and even audio media. If you talk about just podcasts, it is a huge issue that people just, say what they feel is okay. I saw something and I forgot who it was that said it and in what context, so please forgive me, but it was something that just struck me like a bolt of lightning. It was, I forget the actual details of what celebrity or whatever was involved, but something to the effect of, well, they're in the public eye, so they're fair game. No, that's not how this works. People that choose to live their lives in the public eye, while they are unfortunately more so in today's world than they were in the early days of television and radio and whatnot, they are more likely to have complete and total coverage of their lives. It does not give any other single person or groups of people the right to criticize or pass judgment on them, right? And again, Jeff's on the hypocrisy train. Let me be clear on this. If I've gone outside this parameter, then I'm sure my team will call me out on it when I get off the air today, if not right now in public. But anytime I have openly criticized anybody with the venom that has been laid against, the people involved in this case, deservedly, if you believe everything you read, the criticisms of the ridiculous, to some folks, coverage of the relationship between Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift, they just feel that's okay. The difference is, I have, at least I've tried to, and if I haven't completely stuck to this, then that's my bad, and I'll own it. I have been actively acquainted with one or more parties involved, and I have a particularly subjective view on it. Whereas, never met Taylor Swift, don't know Travis Kelce, I have no problem staying objective. It's like, you know what, they're cute, they're young, they're in love, good for them. The other side of the coin, the news that came out today regarding the former executive from WWE, tend to know more than I want to about that, if I'm being honest. And I have no desire to address it, because anything that comes out of my mouth about it, or comes off of my fingers typing about it, is just going to be venom because of my personal feelings for that person. And I don't think that's appropriate for me. I have no skin I literally have no skin in the game, so it's not my problem. It's not my circus, not my monkeys, right? So and as far as the other thing, as far as taking sports news that comes out right then and there was a particular example. I am going to single the news story out, but not the person involved, because I do have a love for the person, so I'm not going to throw that person under the bus. But there was a report yesterday, maybe the day before. I forget if it was before our Tuesday streams or not, but something to the effect of Seattle was interviewing a prospective coach. The person was subsequently hired, and it was the latest we had was they had gone back for a second interview, and the comment underneath was, they're the youngest coach in the NFL. It's like, they're the youngest coach in the NFL if they're hired and it's confirmed by Seattle. And that was, it seemed, I'm sure it sounds nitpicky as I'm laying it out, but we have to be nitpicky in what we do here, because until we have 100% confirmation with a team or corporate or whatever letterhead logo with a here's what's happening in our organization, we know absolute jack. And I feel like if we correct that use of verbiage in everyday conversation, it'll become a lot easier to not continue the often false narratives, if that makes any sense. I know I'm sounding really preachy, and I do apologize for it, but I just, it's been bothering me for some time that this has been a continual thing within my team, within things I watch on TV, on YouTube, on social media, and I wanted to address the problem. So I did, and I'm grateful you guys were able to listen, and I hope that the 13 to 15 of you that have been watching across the various outlets have not completely tuned out and told me to go screw myself silently to yourselves and walked away from this chat. No, it is. I agree that cancel culture is trash. My issue is that the problem with calling it cancel culture trash is that so many things that get canceled should have not even been given the green light in the first place, if that makes any sense. And sometimes you just have to step in and nip something in the bud before it becomes an even worse thing. What's happened in the WWE and the wrestling world in the last 2 weeks has been one of those that's been out of hand for decades. And it needed to be stopped a long time ago, and now it looks like it is. JJ makes a great point. It's called integrity. Whether you consider it journalistic integrity or personal integrity, everyone should strive hard to conduct themselves with integrity. Bingo. That's the point of today's stream. Well, that and the shills, because as everybody knows, I'm into the shills. That's really all I wanted to come across and say. I only came on at 3 o'clock instead of 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock Eastern, is because I wanted to be able to watch the wrestling shows I subscribe to in real time, and I wanted to make sure I had myself available in case I was needed for the good old parenting in the afternoon. So thank you all for listening to my gaga. I appreciate it very much. Let's go ahead and do the shill thing one time tomorrow across the Casa 18 Studios YouTube channel, as well as the where we got comments. We have comments. I must address them. To all the fans that constantly post stories like this in our live stream chats, this is why we've begun to come down on you guys for it. We believe in press releases that confirm the news, not rumors. Bingo. Good call, Jay. Thank you, sir. Thank you for clarification. Tomorrow on the Casa 18 Studios channel, as well as the Simple Man brand on YouTube, we will have JJ and Noah Foster and whoever else joins in on the shenanigans. Simply predicting for NXT Vengeance Day, which will be this Sunday. We'll talk more about that in a second. Check out Simply Predicting with Noah, JJ, and company tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 Pacific. Also tomorrow night, if you're in the area of Los Angeles County, the San Fernando Valley, whatever you want to call it, our buddy Ariel Belvedere from late of Paradise Kitty and recently coming off tour with Debbie Gibson. Her and her band, the LA Dolls, will be at the Canyon Club in Agora Hills. That's tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Pacific time. For those of you out here in Southern California, Saturday night, of course, our usual brand of shenanigans across the multiverse of media, open mic night, beginning at 11 o'clock Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific. JJ will host and moderate as he do. We will then have our coverage of Vengeance Day presented by NXT with Noah and JJ on the call beginning at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, again across the multiverse as we continue our road of WWE coverage to WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia. I can't believe it's WrestleMania 40. Holy crap. Of course, we'll return to our regular brand of programming Monday morning, 9 o'clock Pacific, noon Eastern, as JJ presents his For the Love of Wrestling with his coverage of the weekend shows, and all week long you can catch his reviews of Raw, NXT, AEW Dynamite, and at least till No Surrender, TNA Impact. Talk Wrestling, of course, will return back to hopefully its normal Q&A and regular format now that we've back in Q&A form. Just definitely want to try to stick to the Q&As. This last week was a little bit different. 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 Pacific Monday, across the multiverse, as well as NoDQ.com. Statboy Sports Bar will be open this Tuesday with a full preview of the Super Bowl, because we'll have a watch long we'll get to in a minute. So check out our entire comprehensive Super Bowl preview coming up this Tuesday. I believe we're going live again at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 Pacific. The Greg Cherry Show will return. I hope to be on this week. Yesterday was just such a cluster scheduling-wise. Check us out, 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 Pacific on the Greg Cherry brand and on the Jeff Meach Network. Hopefully this show will be back in its normal time slot Thursday next week, 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 Pacific. Next Friday, immediately following For the Love of Wrestling's coverage of TNA Impact, JJ and A will be live to celebrate the milestone 60 years to the date of the Beatles' original appearance on the Ed Sullivan Show. We will have our listings, our choices for the top 10 Beatles songs. Next Saturday, February 10th, our buddies Paradise Kitty will be opening for the legendary Quiet Riot at Rockin' Brews inside Yamava Casino out in Highland, California. Check out the link on AXS.com for tickets and everything. Next Sunday, the 11th, we will have an exclusive watch-along with Statboy Mike and company of Super Bowl. I don't know what the damn initials are. What is that? 58? Super Bowl 58. We'll call it back because I can't remember numbers and it's tiny. I apologize. Super Bowl 58 coverage between the San Francisco 49ers and the Kansas City Chiefs. That'll be across the Jeff Meacham Network and the Castadian Studios. That's all coming up in the next couple of weeks, along with our usual brand of weekly shenanigans and streams. Thank you guys for watching. We leave you today with a first look that was originally broadcasted on the Bat Productions YouTube channel and social media, talking about the return to Indiegogo of their upcoming tribute film, fan film, The Last Nightmare, Part 1. Good night, everybody.
Who knew I'd be so good at beer pong?
Yeah, you destroyed it out there.
Next time you're on my team. We'll see about that. Anyway, I'm gonna head home. Do you guys need a ride?
No, I live down the street, so I'll just walk.
Okay.
Sam, are you sure you're good to drive, though?
Yeah, I'll be fine.
All right.
Good night.
Good night.
Try not to die.
Hey, asshole. You wanna get the fuck out of the way? Aren't you too old to be trick-or-treating anyway? Look, man, if you don't move, I'm gonna get on the phone with the police. Okay, fine. Let's see what the cops have to say. Ah! Ah!